Good morning. All right, we are moving on to new vocabulary for our stage versus film unit. And for our stage versus film unit, we are going to be comparing the stage version of The Phantom of the Opera to the film version of The Phantom of the Opera. And they're both very, very good. And if you're a distance learner, you don't have to watch all of them really, because I don't think you can watch all of them unless you happen to have Amazon Prime. You can find both the film and the onstage version on Amazon Prime. So if you're keen on watching all of them, you can. But otherwise, I just want you to watch certain elements of each version and compare the two, because there are many things that you can do with your theatrical versions that you just can't do on film. There are many things that you can do on film, obviously, that you just can't do on stage. So it's a really interesting thing to study the difference between film and stage. So we do have some vocabulary this week that I'm going to go over with you. The first one is spectacle. Spectacle simply means things that are really amazing to look at, things that are aesthetically fascinating to the eye, and it's usually referred to in the theater realm. So let me give you an example. If you go see Miss Saigon, they land a helicopter on the stage. That is an amazing spectacle. That is something that I would love to see. I've not seen Miss Saigon. When you go see Phantom, there is a chandelier that falls on stage, which is really amazing to watch. The new set for Phantom of the Opera that you'll not see in either of the versions we're going to watch has this tower, and these steps come out from the side of the tower, and then the characters can walk along them, and then they go back into the tower and they disappear, which means when they follow the steps, they can't turn around and go back, which is kind of a metaphor for Christine's relationship with the Phantom. So spectacle is just fire and lighting and special effects and making things happen on stage that we didn't think were going to be possible. If you have a very simple play like Pride and Prejudice, you don't normally have a lot of spectacle. There's not really any need for big, flashy special effects. I have seen big, flashy special effects in Jane Austen before, and they're really interesting, but it's not really necessary. If you're going to do Phantom of the Opera, you've got to have spectacle. If you're going to do Beauty and the Beast, you've got to have spectacle. You've got to have big special effects that are very complicated. Even Addams Family has a lot of spectacle in it. So that's what spectacle is. It's just big, flashy things on stage that are awesome. I know that sounds very unscientific, but it really is just all the big, flashy things that you expect to see when you go to a highly professional Broadway show. All right, next is passage of time. And the passage of time can be conveyed in a bunch of different ways, both on film and on stage. On film, you often see flash forwards or flashbacks, and sometimes the picture even goes to black and white to indicate that we've had a change in time. Your characters may look different. They may look older, or they may look younger. Their hair may be a different length. So passage of time is something that happens a lot in stage and in film, and it is conveyed in a variety of different ways, sometimes even with a literal fast forward of time. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, we go back in time, and there's like a rewind. You actually see characters moving around backwards and things like that. So there are a lot of different ways to convey time changes and passage of time in film and on stage. All right, next is transitions. Transitions on film are simple. You snap your fingers and we're in a new location. Obviously not that way in theater. You may have to change a set. You may have to change the time of day. So transitions, in the past, it has been acceptable for there to be the lights go down, we hear some music, we sit in our seats patiently for 30 seconds or a minute even, and then the lights come up and we're in a new scene. Theater's really gotten away from that. We don't really have those traditional transitions where the lights go off and then we change a scene and then the lights come back up. Occasionally we can't help but do that, but we really try to make transitions more fluid than that. We try to have a scene that changes on one side of the stage while the audience's attention is focused on the other side of the stage, so that all we have to do is refocus their attention, which only takes a second. Sometimes you even close a curtain and you change something behind the scenes while there's something else going on downstage. But transitions are extremely important because they have to be done quickly and flawlessly and efficiently. But transitions just mean that we change from one scene to another or from one time to another as quickly and efficiently as possible. And again, on film, that's very simple. Your camera just goes to the next scene and shoots. But on stage, that can take a lot longer and it can be a lot more complicated. All right, number 4, which is not really number 4, but the fourth one for our list today is special effects. And everyone loves special effects. Special effects can be making someone look like they're flying. It can be making it look like we have a ghost on stage. It can be something catching on fire. It could be the sun coming up. There are a bunch of different special effects that theater professionals try to convey on stage with a bunch of different methods. Lighting can help. Props can help. Projections can help. Projections can help with special effects. So special effects are just those things that look like they're done magically. You couldn't do them without a lot of sort of theater magic. So special effects are really fun. Everyone loves them. When we did The Little Mermaid, we had to have Eric fall off the ship, and Ariel had to rescue him out of the water. Well, when he was underwater, we were like, oh my gosh, he's underwater. How are we going to convey that he's underwater? So we had the lights go out. We had some lightning, and we have these little lightning lights that show up with little streaks of lightning. You can get them at like a Halloween shop. But we had those, and then we have a giant projector, and we just projected like an underwater scene onto the stage. And we turned all the lighting to like blues and greens so that you could convey that he was underwater. It actually looked really cool. So there are a lot of really cool special effects like that. You generally don't want to light things on fire in the theater, but they make something called rocket fuse. That's just a fuse that if you're like a model rocket maker and you like making rockets that go up in the air and stuff, there are actually people who do that as a hobby. You can attach that fuse to your rocket and it sets your rocket off. But they have rocket fuse that's just fuse and it doesn't go to anything. So when you light it, it just catches fire and it sparks and then it just disintegrates. So we've done that before for a rocket ship. And of course you've got weapons like guns and things that obviously you can't use a real gun. That would be extremely dangerous. But you've got to have those sound effects, and recorded sound effects can be really awful. So it's a really good idea to use practical sound effects. So anyway, all those things are special effects. And then lastly, on location. I want you to know the phrase on location. Theater is never done on location. We bring the locations to the theater. Whereas film, a lot of things are shot on location. And I know I use Harry Potter as a reference a lot, but in Harry Potter, they shoot part of the scene at King's Cross, which is a train station in London. And when they take the camera crew to the train station and record there rather than building a set, that is shooting on location. So theater doesn't have the luxury of going on location to film something or to do something because everything is live. So locations really have to be brought to the stage. So that's another huge difference between film and theater. Filmographers can go to a location such as a train station or a park or a mansion or a garden and shoot there without really having to set up very much at all. And then if we do that on stage, if we have to have a cemetery or a garden or the inside of a mansion or something on stage, we have to build it or use a projection to project it. And I think that's kind of cheating. I don't normally use projections to project an entire scene. But anyway, those are some of the aspects of film versus stage that we'll discuss over the next week. I'm going to send everyone a copy of the links that we'll be watching the different versions of Phantom. And then in your email and also on the website, there are just some questions about what you saw when you were watching the two versions. All right, that is all for this week. I hope you have a great week. It's cold outside. Stay warm and take care. Bye.